Hi, I'm Tim Noggle. I'm the Vice President of Sales for Novatec. We're a manufacturer of blending, drying, and conveying equipment for the plastics industry.
And I'm Mark Haynie. I'm the VP of Moisture and Drying Technology here at Novatec.
And we're here to kick off a new technology series of videos and presentations that we hope will be interesting to processors in the plastics industry and to our customers and the industry in general. Our focus was going to be not only the equipment that we make and the updates and some of the new things we have coming out, but applications and how those technologies are applied to help solve problems for the general processor or to solve problems that we see coming to us from our customers directly, and we'll share some of those in a way that we hope will be helpful. And we'll also rely not just on the equipment, but we'll rely on our background and our experience to try and share some of that with the folks that are watching the videos. I mean, obviously, I've been in the industry over 30 years. I spent 12 or 15 years as a processor on plant floors and solving those problems. I've gotten that call at 2 in the morning saying, "Oh my God, the truck's going to be here in 3 hours and everything's gone to hell." So. We understand that feeling, and then obviously we've spent, you and I have both, 15 or 20 years at least designing machinery and then applying that machinery to help people solve problems.
Yeah, we've spent a lot of time in plants, and that's really where you gain the experience in this industry. When you can talk to a customer, they relate to them and solve a problem. So we're going to talk about some products that we have that are specific to this drying technology and can improve the operations in your plant.
Well, and you've been doing this a long time. I mean, I had an old sergeant major when I was in the Army that told me at one time, "I've been doing this since Christ was a corporal." So you've been doing this how long?
I've been here 25 years, and I've been doing drying for about 45 years, so in lots of different applications. So yes, I've spent a lot of time in plants and relating to customers and having them tell you what they need to happen and solving the problem eventually.
Now we're going to reach into that database. We're going to pull some of those old memories out and share them with folks on how we solve some problems.
Hopefully we will.
So the first product we're going to talk about in this series is what you and I are going to be focused on today, Mark, which is the NovaDrier. Been in production 25 plus years. We have thousands of them out in the market and have been applied very successfully, and we have a lot of happy customers with them. But like most products, it was starting to get a little long in the tooth, little bit old, right?
Yes. So what we've done is we've looked at the product and said, okay, what is the market asking of this product that the existing product didn't happen? So we were able to add some features, dry convey package, communications, and touchscreen, and it's really an improved product, and really proud of where we've gone with this.
I agree. I think it's going to be a lot more applicable to a wider audience. Both for cellular manufacturing, you said the dry convey package, so roll it up next to a machine and it's all there.
Yeah.
But also I think applicable to applications where we have customers that maybe have a central conveying system or have a central drying system, but they want all their equipment to be able to talk to the system and get information out of it. And so I think that the second feature you mentioned, the updated conveying or control package, is going to give a wider audience some interest in this product that maybe didn't make sense for them before.
Yeah, so whether you have Modbus or Ethernet, or we can communicate, and we've designed this so that it is much like the rest of the Novatec packages. This can communicate with customers' external features, and it can also can communicate with all of our other systems in the plant, so that no matter where you are in the plant, if you pick up a Novatec screen, you can talk to the piece of equipment without actually going there. If you're at your desk and you want to communicate with the equipment, you can bring it up from any location at all. If you're sitting at home and you have to come in instead of going in at 2 o'clock in the morning.
Sure.
You can communicate with the piece of equipment and find out what's going on.
Well, and I think it's the key thing I picked out of what you were saying is that it's platform agnostic. It doesn't care if you're trying to talk to your Davis Standard extruder or your angle injection molding machine or your Arberg work cell. It's the new control that's on this platform is very open technology, very open architecture. So it'll talk to anybody.
Yes, and that was the whole goal in this. If we were going to spend the time and do this, we were going to do this so that we could communicate with any platform that's out there and do it seamlessly, as if you were working within that platform itself.
Sure, and that's been some of the challenge, I think, of a lot of products that have come out the last couple of years. Everybody wants to make sure that that they have that communication capability and that Industry 4.0 and all the buzzwords that have happened over the last 10 or so years, and AI capable and so forth. But to do that in such a way that it's really open and people can do with it what they need to do, not what I as a manufacturer want you to do. So the breadth of the applicability, I think, is extremely important.
Yeah, and a lot of processors, manufacturers like ourselves, have done it so that it communicates within their own little world.
Absolutely,
and when you can't get outside of your own box, you have a hard time being applicable to the entire industry.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, and we see that all the time. I mean, we get calls from processors and from integrators all the time. Who that's the first question they're going to ask is, all right, but can it talk to this? Can I get the data from here and put it into my plant SCADA system? Because nobody's going to throw away everything that's in the plant because of a new platform. They want to make sure that it's going to fit into what they're doing seamlessly.
Yeah, and there may be some minor integration, but as
course.
long as you have the communication capability, it can go seamlessly into any platform.
So, Mark, we started off kind of talking a little bit already about some of the new and improved features of it, like the new communication and the new control. But let's back ourselves up a little bit. There are a lot of features about this dryer. As I said, we have thousands of these out in the field, and we have some customers who really love this technology. And I want to make sure they understand we didn't abandon their technology.
Absolutely not.
So, one of the things that I think is important for us to talk about is the membrane, which is the heart of this dryer. How does that work? What is the process by which this desiccates air and gives us that -40?
So once there are compressed air dryers out there in the field, and they merely take compressed air, they expand it, and it produces a somewhat lower dew point, but it really doesn't operate in that facet like a desiccating dryer, like a wheel or
because I think most of those have a requirement that you actually have like an air dryer on your air system. So
exactly.
You got to dry the air before you can dry the air almost, right?
So one of the things is our systems, the ones we produce, they only use a membrane. We don't produce a compressed air dryer. Yes, it uses compressed air as a feedstock, but the compressed air goes to a membrane. The membrane then takes that air, expands it to atmospheric pressure to go after the membrane, but it produces -40 or less dew point continuously, and it does it within almost seconds. As a matter of fact, the moisture analyzer is slower than the membrane. You'll be producing -40 dew point within seconds, but the analyzer, because you got to purge out lines, it takes a while to catch up, but you're producing -40 dew point from the time you start the piece of equipment.
So this is a really nice dryer for those start-stop situations where you don't have to leave it run and keep a desiccant bed dried out or anything else. You can shut this off or turn it back on as the process requires for changeovers and things.
There's
like that.
no regeneration. So all you do is you feed the air to the membrane. The membrane produces -40 dew point. The -40 dew point goes through and dries the resin out. And eventually some of that air is released into the room, but we have some techniques in order to minimize the amount of air that's used.
So yeah, let's talk about that, because obviously as soon as people hear the word compressed air, you know, that's an expensive commodity, and it's usually a commodity that's in short supply in a lot of plants. So, you know, how does this dryer compare to other compressed air dryers in usage and in efficiency of how that commodity is preserved?
So from the time this product was introduced, and as you said, that was 20 some years ago, it was introduced as a dual flow type technology. You feed the air in, you produce the -40, it goes through, but then we have an upper loop where we use a venturi, which is just a very simple piece of
because the air
equipment.
coming out the top is still pretty dry, I would think. Right.
So we can take and reuse that air because it's normally in the area of about -10.
Okay.
We bring that air back into the system, we heat it again, and we bring it into the upper part of the chamber. And actually, the majority of the moisture that's released from the resin is released in the upper loop, where we use
pre-dried, so to speak.
It's pre-dried
Okay.
with the air that comes from the venturi system.
Sure.
And with -10, you can do some drying. You just can't get down typically to the final moisture content that most resins have to be for processing. You pass through that section, you release a lot of the moisture. Then we go into the lower section where we go down, and if it's a polycarbonate or ABS or a nylon, you get down to the resin moisture levels that are appropriate for those products.
You finish the process.
And the thing is this product can dry any resin on the market. It's not like this is a product that says, oh, we can only dry high temperature resins, low temperature resins. This product, because of the fact that we bring compressed air in, the compressed air is at a relatively low temperature, we can dry low temperature resins. We can dry resins that dry at the normal, maybe 180 degrees. We can dry high temperature resins, and we dry them all efficiently. It doesn't matter the resin you have or the temperature it dries at, this product is applicable.
Now the membrane, which we talked about, is the heart of the dryer. Is this like Desiccant, where every, you know, I mean, obviously you got to change that out every once in a while. It breaks down and stuff. You know, this sounds like something that might have the same situation.
No, we put a membrane in here, and because the membrane is once through, unlike a lot of the Desiccant systems where you bring back possibly contaminated, it has moisture, it has plasticizers, it has dust. None of this comes back to the membrane. It provides dry air. It does it in a once-through so that we can provide a lifetime warranty to the membrane. You put one membrane in, and that's the only membrane you'll have in the life of the product.
Wow. So, okay, so membrane, never have to replace that, theoretically. And if you do, Novatec's going to take care of that.
Right.
So that's a great situation. So how does it do this so efficiently? I mean, we've talked about this product some, no moving parts, you know, so very simple mechanical system in this. Maintenance then has got to be pretty simple, right?
So all you have to do is, there are 3 filters in the system. The main filters that protect the membrane, we have a 1 micron filter that'll take out the pipe scale, anything that's any debris or anything.
Major.
And then we have a 0.01 micron. 0.01 microns. That's extremely, extremely fine. So we can take out oils and anything that could possibly, over the entire life of this product, contaminate it. You have to change those once a year. You change those filters once a year. And then there's one in the recirculation line at the top that you have to, once again, replace about once a year.
Clean the return air out.
So clean the return air that goes so that we don't get debris in the venturi itself. But if you change those 3 filters, you'll probably forget you have the dryer, other than the day you have to fill it up with product to go over to your machine.
I know. I was talking to somebody the other day, was out on a customer visit, and was talking about this technology. And the customer said, you know, I think we have one of those. And they went out on the plant floor. it was back behind 3 other machines. You couldn't even see it. And he said, we just never go back there. We don't have to do it. That just runs.
It's very typical that they almost forget they have the piece of equipment. Because it's so reliable. We just got to ask that once in a while you go back there and change the filters. On it. But other than changing those couple filters, forget about it. Just send resin to it. Take the resin from it, and you'll have a much better day.
Well, I mean, we're realists. We've talked about this before here at Novatec. Unfortunately, our products in general are processes that nobody wants to do. You don't make money drying resin. You don't make money conveying resin as a processor. You make money converting resin into products. And so, you know, our engineering approach, which is it's got to be simple, it's got to be reliable, and it's got to be, you know, out of sight and out of mind in some cases, so that it doesn't require a lot of interaction.
That's the job that almost anybody in any plant would love to have, that product that takes over and just does it, and you don't have to learn the drying.
Yep.
It should never be your job to learn drying.
That's a good point.
That's our job.
Yeah.
We produce a piece of equipment that dries the resin reliably, and you know all the time what's going to your machine is properly dried and ready to go.
So, Mark, let's talk a little bit about portability. You know, this dryer was always designed and meant to be portable. Right. And that's obvious from the sizing on the dryer, and we do that for a number of reasons. I mean, one being, obviously, it's intended to be able to be moved around a plant if that, in fact, is what fits the customer's need. And because of that, this is only available in certain sizes, right? This isn't meant to be a technology for every application.
No, the legacy product that we've been producing for a while is available up to about 200 pounds an hour. The revised product has been limited to about 100 pounds an hour because that's what we've seen the market is.
It's kind of the sweet spot,
the market seems to respond to this product, and that's because it does use compressed air. Compressed air is sometimes in a limited quantity in a plant, but the things in dual flow, and we try to cover this, is that we only use about 1/3 of the compressed air and 1/3 of the power of other products from other manufacturers that produce this product. So we've made it as an attractive product that power-wise, it competes with Desiccant type dryers.
Sure.
And up to even 100 pounds an hour. And with the dry convey package, it actually has a smaller footprint than our own wheel type dryers.
Sure.
That we produce also a number of those dryers over the course of the year. This has an extremely small footprint, and we've been able to bring all the features that the market seems to want into this product in a portable thing that it's ergonomic. The handles on it are designed in such a way that you can cart this unit around, and it's not like a shopping cart where it just moves fluidly wherever you want to move it.
Those handles, that's what's interesting. Those handles in the previous iteration development, those actually came from a customer, I think, right?
Absolutely.
We sent dryer out to the customer, and they said, "Why is the handle this way? Wouldn't it be more comfortable if it was this way? You're trying to drive it."
Because you can. It's like driving a car. Then
Absolutely.
You can move it wherever you want to. And this product,
gotta listen to the people who use it, right?
typically it sits next to a molding machine.
Sure.
People want to be able to get in there with the dryer system. They have maybe a fork truck running around with Gaylord, or they're rolling up a drum of this material. They're bringing in bags. So no matter how you're trying to fill this material, it's a nice portable product that also is designed in such a way that it can be mounted on the throat of a machine.
Sure.
If indeed the application fits where they want the dryer system on the throat of the machine, we can do it that way, or the nice portable package, with all the features that anybody would want in that kind of a system.
Yeah, and that's, I mean, we have some applications, especially for extrusion customers, sheet extruders and inline thermoformers, where they're drying the resin in a large resin dryer, big throughput, somewhere on their production floor, and then they convey it to the feed throat of the extruder. But they have a NovaDrier on the feed throat of the extruder, because the whole dryer can go up there. Very simple, very portable. You connect an air line, you connect an electrical connection, and that's it. And they're maintaining both the heat and the dry condition of the resin while it's on the feed throat. So,
yeah.
you know, for
so
sensitive
if it's an
got-
injection application, it may be the primary dryer for
Right.
that.
Yep.
And in an extrusion application, it may be one where you've conveyed over there. An extruder works much better if the temperature stays constant to the
Consistent,
throat of
sure.
and the moisture stays throat. Your pressures in the extruder stay much more constant. So in many cases, it's used as like a kiss dryer to give it a kiss of dry air and some heat before going into the machine,
Sure.
to see that the machine production and pressures stay constant all the time.
So let's talk about now the new feature, which is the dry convey package, because that's always been, you know, in my opinion, it's always been a bit of a struggle or a challenge with this dryer. We have a lot of customers who love the dryer, but they are cellular manufacturers. They set up work cells. They like everything to be self-contained, and it was difficult to do that dry convey package on this dryer. We really didn't have that because of the way the control was set up and so forth. But with the new control, with the new configuration of the dryer now, it's a standard option to get it in a dry convey package. Explain what that means.
So if you go back in history, we would have a vacuum loader, and the vacuum loader would have a control to it. And then we would have a machine mount vacuum loader to load the machine. Well, then you've got three controllers,
right.
and who wants to do that?
And especially if then you're going to try and make it portable, right?
Impossible.
Yeah.
So now everything is seamlessly included in the package. It includes the capability of a wand where it can take from a source, whether the gaylord or a drum or a bag, it can bring it into the drying hopper, dry the material, take from the bottom, go to the machine, and it even has a purge box on the bottom of that in the dry convey package. And the purge box on the dry convey can see that we don't open that purge box until the resin has passed its pre-dry period.
So
of
you
time.
have that interlock that we do on a lot of other
Exactly.
dryers. Sure.
So we are able to see that once we allow that material to pass beyond the purge box to the machine, it's dry. And we know
it
it's
always
dry.
gets sent all the way to the machine, no material laying in the hose.
Nothing,
right?
and everything's purged from the line all the way to the machine.
And so the dryer has its own. These aren't self-contained loaders like some other packaged dryers that are on the market. This has its own conveying pump right on the cart, right?
It has its conveying pump. It has the conveying filter to see that any dust or that would come off is collected. In the receiver coming into the unit, there is a in the convey package. It sees that that material is filtered coming out of the hopper, so we try to keep the dust away, so there's very little maintenance on the convey filter too. And we purge all the lines all the way to the machine, and we use a two-position valve such that it will first pull from and keep the hopper full, and then the same pump is used to convey. So it's like if you had a central drying system.
So it's its own,
It's its own central drying system. As if you had a central drying system of your plant, this is identical.
Nice. So we've always had that kind of a package, as do many manufacturers have offered that kind of a package for a desiccant dryer, either a 2 or 4 bed dryer or a wheel dryer. We offer that same thing. But nobody else really has a dryer that is maintenance free, that is highly portable, very simple to connect at the work cell, and it's got dry convey built into it, and all of this in a very simple, easy, lifetime warranted package.
And it's nice. The new package, we've incorporated all the features that we have found in our previous dryers are what the customer demands.
Yep.
We've added the communication capability, the dry convey package, 7-day timer.
Yep.
We've brought all of these features into this product, and we've made it so simple. And once again, no moving parts.
Yep.
Change the filters once a year.
Well, let's
not much more you could want.
I mean, let's circle back, because we're talking about portability at this point, but this is also a dryer that we see a lot of customers use in a central system. Good example. A number of years ago, we have a customer that is a medical grade molder. They have 20 or 30 of these things in their plant, and they were putting a central drying system in, and we didn't really understand some of the dynamic. And as we're meeting with the customer, we're talking about the fact that, should we go to a central dryer and central drying hoppers and a wheel dryer, something with true desiccant? And they kept telling us, no, we want NovaDriers. Just put 20 of them on a bank. That's what we want. And we really struggled with that. And so finally we said, okay, how about this? Let us go back and do an energy study, because we really think you're going to want to go to the central dryer. We were surprised. 20 dryers as opposed to a central dryer and hoppers to do the same throughput and same mix. The difference in cost to run those annual, less than $5,000 difference. That was really surprising to us, how efficient these units are, and in comparison to other technologies, very, very efficient, very comparable.
And a lot of that comes all back to that dual flow concept.
Yeah.
In the fact that in that dual flow concept, by using 1/3 of the compressed air of just what the membrane would do itself, by reusing that -10 air that other manufacturers would be venting off the top, we reuse that air, we get it into dual flow concept, and it's able to, when you start looking at the dollars and cents, as you said, it's very comparable to much other types of desiccant systems.
Especially when
because this is a
simplicity
desiccating system just like those.
Exactly. This isn't a compressed air dryer. It's not counting on all kinds of outside factors to make sure it's drying. It assures it's drying because that's how it's built. That's what the technology does. And this isn't new technology. I mean, membrane drying technology has been used in gases and all kinds of other manufacturing processes for years and years. So this isn't something that's new. It's just new in the way it's applied.
This has been re-engineered to be the best product it can be in this mode of using a membrane as a desiccating source for the drying process.
And we kind of touched on it earlier, but this also, we don't try and make this isn't a one size fits all, and this is not, once we get to a certain size and a certain throughput rate, there are, this will work up to, you can make 1,000 pound an hour dryer with this technology if you want to, right? I mean, it's
but
membrane be pretty
eventually
big,
it's not a portable unit.
Well, exactly.
If it weighs half a ton.
And the point being, the technology would work, but it's not the most efficient way to do it. There are other better technologies once you get to a certain size where you say there's really not a reason to do that. Just because you can do some doesn't mean you should, right?
And the one nice thing is we have all of those technologies too.
Exactly.
So we can position this product where it should be positioned for the market that it's applied to.
Yeah, we're not trying to fit you into a shoe that doesn't fit.
Absolutely
right?
not.
Exactly. So no, I think that's an important distinction to make, is we're talking about this technology, but we're talking about it for application where it makes sense and where it checks all the boxes. We don't have to check 3 of the 5 boxes and say close enough. If this doesn't fit, then that's okay. We'll explain why it doesn't fit. But if it does, it's usually a really good fit.
And Novatec is lucky enough to have basically all the drying technologies that are out there in the market.
Well, we're
can
lucky enough to
position-
have smart people who've given us all those technologies, right?
And we're lucky here at this company to be able to position this product where it fits, and then also back off and say, okay, then this is where another technology may be the best technology for you.
Sure. And I love when our customers challenge us on those statements and say, well, but I like this product. Why are you telling me it? You know, and it causes us to reflect on that and check the science.
And absolutely, and the science is there, and this product allows you to do the drying, and as I said, of any resin at any temperature. You don't have to run cooling water to it.
Yep.
You don't have to find to cool before to lower the temperature coming out of a blower. You don't have to do it because you got return air temperatures that are high. This product fits the common processor that has a majority of either a lot of resins or a single resin, and can do it efficiently.
And so we're talking about this product, which is, you know, the new reconstituted product with the dry Convey package, with the new control, with the nice touchscreen, all the communication, all those nice things that have been added to this. And that's available in sizes 25, 50,
And a 7.
and 7, 25, 50.
7, 25, 50, 75, and 100 pounds an hour.
Okay. And but the line actually is a bit broader than that, in that we have a 5 pound per hour unit.
Yes.
You know, same technology. We have 150 and 200 pound units. They haven't necessarily been set up with the dry Convey package and with the new control, and mostly because it just doesn't. Again, it doesn't fit. Nobody's going to push around, or at least most people don't want to push around a portable dryer with a 1,000-pound hopper. Right?
And the same thing for the very small 5 pound an hour. Normally, that dryer you're going to see sitting on.
Unit,
you're going to see it sitting on the throat of the machine often, and it's drying there.
Yeah.
The big ones, when you have a 1,000-pound hopper or an 800-pound hopper, it's not really you can't call that a portable unit.
Right.
So the revisiting of this product has been to position it for the portable market and where that applies.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so Mark, let's circle back to the touchscreen control, which is the other major update. We've talked about touched on it briefly, but let's talk a little bit more in depth. So one of the things I know that was a big focus of this update was making sure that the touchscreen control and the functions in the control have the same look and feel as our other control products throughout the product line. And what was the...
So that's absolutely all of our products in Novatec talk to all of our other products. If somebody has a conveying system and they want to look at the drying system, you can go from the conveying system in the plant, and you can take over the screen. You can do that. You can do it from your desktop. We wanted to have things like a 7-day timer, so that you don't have to come in at 4 o'clock in the morning and start your drying system up.
Sure.
You can set it to start the drying system and know that when you arrive at 8 o'clock in the morning, you're going to have resin ready to go.
And that's a standard feature.
And that's a standard feature in the drying system. The tools package, almost identical to our other products. So the things that you can get in, set your regional settings. Where are you at? Do you want to have English? Do you want to have Spanish? Do you want to have English unit, metric units? So a lot of those kind of features are been standard.
Standard alarms package, right?
Standard alarms package. It gives you your current alarms and gives you an alarm history back to as long as you want to go back. It has trending screens. So we trend each of the temperatures going into the upper loop, the lower loop. We trend the dew point produced by the piece of equipment. Unfortunately, it's usually boring because it's
just
consistent.
sits there, right?
It stays the same all the time. So the features we've looked at are consistent throughout our products, and we've learned throughout the years what the market wants,
What's most
and we've
relevant.
tried to deliver that is within the standard packages.
Sure. Now, so the all of the trending that you were talking about, I would think that there's some value in that when in troubleshooting. You know, if the process goes out of control, or we start making bad parts, we can look back over the last several hours and say, all right, did something go out of whack in the dryer?
And you can even take an event and try to put several days worth of data on there, and look at several days and see where it compares to history, or you can take an event and blow it up to the point where you can magnify that and see over the course of time, when did it happen, and maybe what also occurred at the same time within the plant that may have contributed to that.
Yeah. No, and that happens quite often in a manufacturing environment. There are so many factors that are playing on the process, and the more we can see history, or anybody, certainly a processor, the more they can see history and data of all of the pieces of the process, helps them deduce where they have things that may not be in good control.
And the timing, is it when you brought in a new Gaylord of material? Is it when maybe someone in the plant didn't bring the Gaylord in quite quick enough?
Yeah.
All of those things are, and it relates and gives you a date and time stamp on all of those, so you can look at other factors within the plant that could contribute to that.
Sure. I mean, I remember an instance more years ago than I care to remember. Was working in a blow molding plant, and every night on third shift we had one machine that would just have terrible problems, and looked at data, and nothing made sense. And so we actually, one of our engineers and I came in, when third shift started, just to see if there was something obvious, if somebody was changing the process, and everything looked normal until about 1 o'clock in the morning. It started getting a little hot in the plant. It was the middle of, it's the middle of the summer. Well, it was cool outside in the evening, so there was a walk-through door right next to the machine. Operator walked over innocently, didn't do anything malicious, kicked that door open to get a little breeze coming through. Well, now that side of the extrusion head cools off, and it's 10 minutes later, the Parison started hooking toward trying to run out the door because that side was colder.
And there's so many contributing factors.
Exactly, and a lot of it happens, and it's not malicious, it's not intentional. People sometimes just don't understand the impact or the effect of outside influences on the process, and when you can see data, sometimes it helps you to deduce that, right?
Absolutely, and giving you the data with a date and time stamp, and then if it caused something in the dryer to alarm, you get the alarm history, and then you can also even see, is this alarm history repetitive? Is it related to some event in the plant?
So all the we're talking about all the tools that are available, but the communications that we talked about, we mentioned briefly earlier. This dryer isn't just meant to be a portable cellular dryer. Certainly, as we talked about before, you can use this in central systems as well, and this control is set up to communicate basically with all of those systems as well.
So if we have a dry convey package, we'd love to sell the dry convey package where that's applicable.
Right.
Many plants have a central conveying system in the plant.
Sure.
So this will also has the capability of communicating with that central conveying system. So if you're in front of a conveying system and you have an Ethernet between the two pieces of equipment, and all it means is one of them just has an Ethernet switch somewhere that allows you to have a lot of plugs.
Put it on the network,
Right. So if you can take over, if you're at the conveying system, you want to talk to the dryer, talk to the dryer. If you're at the dryer and you want to talk to the conveying system and change the fill time, the dump time, the purge time, you can do that. And you can change that in the central conveying system through the interface on the drying system.
Yeah, and it's what's also nice is our technicians, this, our field service technicians, they carry their own Wi-Fi and router, and they set up, when they're setting up a system in a plant, or if they're setting up a small cellular system like this, they can create their own network out of that, and then they can talk to it with their phone, with their iPad, because it makes that setup easier. They have to keep running back and forth.
And our customers can talk to it from home.
do the same thing. Yeah.
They can talk to it from home as long as your plant has, and you're able to access your plant system remotely. You can sit on your sofa, and when you get that call at 2 o'clock in the morning, you're not getting in your car necessarily and running to the plant.
Maybe it'll mean less drives into the plant, right? Yeah.
And maybe just direct somebody at the plant that this is all you need to do.
Yeah, this is what it looks like.
And please take a look at this for me. And it looks like this may be the solution.
Good. Yeah, absolutely. And there's a tremendous value in that, just in quality of life for your key people as well.
And most plants allow their employees to communicate with their plant systems remotely, and remote work, remote capabilities have become much more popular and much more consistent throughout all industries in the last few years.
So there's one thing we haven't talked about that I think is worth mentioning, and is certainly relevant. You know, we've been working on, and we've talked about our inline moisture analyzer. The Genie product that Novatec is working on and is introducing. How does that have a place with this product?
So absolutely, and all of the pages, and they look just like, the interface looks just like the interface would look like in all of our other products, like in our Desiccant wheel dryers or Desiccant dryer systems. We can add the Genie to this system. We can measure the moisture coming into the system. We can put in all the drying curves. We can put in all of the different resins that may be used in that plant, have the drying curves for those systems. And if it tells you that, okay, it's summertime, you really do need 3 hours or 4 hours to dry this material, that's fine. And the system will tell you that. If it's the wintertime, or you just happen to have a new Gaylord material you just opened, and the moisture level is very low, it tells you, hey, you only need an hour and a half of drying, an hour, 2 hours of drying, and you can start your process. You can get making parts, making money, instead of just going by some cookbook recipe that applies, okay, it applies maybe to the resin at its worst case scenario, because they're going to, you know, a resin manufacturer justifiably should give you the maximum that should be necessary.
They want to make sure it's always going to work.
That it's always going to work.
Yep.
We can tell you, here is what you have today. Here's what exists in your environment today, and target our product to that application, and to let you maybe start making money faster.
Well, and obviously in a dry convey, cellular manufacturing press side situation, where you may be changing over that press because you run multiple products in that several times a week. If you can save 2 or 3 hours every time you change that over, or even an hour, that's real money, and that's real time that you can.
You're talking about thousands of dollars a year in additional productivity, and maybe in some cases fulfilling a customer's expectation on when they came to you and said, I need these parts faster than you really would normally do that. Well, I can give you a few more hours in that day so that you can fulfill an order for an emergency order for a customer, because you have those extra hours available.
Well, and you're also getting that double check on the resin condition going into the dryer, and then obviously the calculation and the monitoring of the process to know you're really getting that good product out the end.
And as long as we know what's coming into the drying system, we control the temperatures, we control the residence time, we know what's going out to the machine.
Absolutely. Thank you very much for spending some time with us and talking about the new re-engineered, reimagined NovaDrier. and all of the new features that are part of it, including our new touchscreen control with communications capability, the new dry convey packages for cellular manufacturing, and all of the new features, including and especially the lifetime warranty on our desiccating membrane that makes this truly a lifetime buy for our processor partners. If you've got any questions about any of this information or anything else that we might be able to help you with in your process, please don't hesitate to reach out to us either at our main phone number, 410-789-4811, or on our website at www.novatec.com. Again, thank you very much for your time and for spending this time with us.
Thank you very much.